A goalless draw between Johor Darul Takzim and Buriram in this all Southeast Asian affair in the AFC Champions League Elite leaves the Malaysian champions in a rather precarious position in their bid to reach the knockout rounds with just 2 games remaining at the end of this match. Although the Southern Tigers maintain their unbeaten home run with 2 wins and a draw at the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium, there are a number of questions that need to be raised after this goalless draw. When you look at Johor's campaign in this new ACLE competition this season, you can see that their head coach Hector Bidoglio, he has tried, you can see by now, tried and trusted starting 11 with a handful of subs that he could count upon, especially when Johor meet tougher opponents in East Asia. And actually the real test comes when sometimes you can have all the best laid tactical plans, but what happens when a flashpoint occurs that throws almost everything out of the window? And unfortunately for Hector Bidoglio, he did not pass this test. Even though, to be fair to the Southern Tigers, the officiating from the Saudi referee Khalid Al-Turki was quite horrendous also. That flashpoint actually came in the 14th minute when their left side midfielder Murillo, he was sent off after virtual assistant referee review on him being the last man to have taken down the Buriram player when the latter was through on goal. While on the surface, the red card was probably justified in exchange for Johor only conceding a penalty instead of Johor conceding a free kick instead of a penalty. The question is, right now with just 10 men, with just rather 75, maybe even 80 minutes if we put in added time in the second half, how are Johor going to handle this? With all their plans probably thrown out of the window, it is quite telling what happened to Johor for the rest of the first half. They were mainly on the defensive. Hector Bidoglio really showed no response. The players were simply left to their devices, as actually they were stuck with Buriram then had all 11 men on the pitch. They had to do a rear guard action, and I think the only rare few forays in their counter-attacks came from the right, because once Murillo was gone, they were no longer a threat. They had nothing to offer going forward on the left side. It's all on the right side through Arif Aiman and also from Bergson, who was also the only notable change from the starting 11 that last played Shandong United, replacing the usual centre forward Obregon of Colombia. So from the way how Johor operated, it's rather patchy in the first half. And the thing is, did Hector Bidoglio really thought of a solution to how to counter this? Probably he trusted all the players who were left on the pitch after Murillo got sent off. It's not like he lost one of his most influential players. But still, not having a solution, not being able to give advice or provide a quick solution to plug that gap on the left Johor rather clueless, really. That gave Buriram a bit of the upper hand, especially when you know that Buriram, they have Malaysia captain Dion Kus playing in his more natural right back, or rather right wing back role tonight. It was a very tough night for Johor in the first half. And the lack of a plan B, the lack of a clarity after being thrown into that situation really showed that Hector Bidoglio did not have a clear answer on what to do. And already before Murillo was sent off, he was already actually on a one yellow card away from suspension along with Juan Muniz. Juan Muniz was given the first yellow card of the game in the 4th minute, which effectively ruled him out for the next game in February against away to Central Coast Mariners of Australia. And now Murillo joins him in the suspension list. Not a good, what a way to start it. Not a good sign. Still, despite the loss of one man, at least that switch in starting personnel in Bergson actually allowed more fluidity going forward, and Bergson showed that throughout his 70 minutes of action tonight, where actually even against the run of play in the 29th minute, he actually had a shot, or rather actually it's a turn and volley after receiving a pass from Arif Aiman in a rare counter-attack. And that was the first real chance of the game, actually the first real chance for Johor under these circumstances, and that has to be admired. Being able to improvise on their own, out away without any instruction, without any clarity from the coach or the technical staff, because there was confusion. But in these counter-attacks, the individuals still knew what had to be done, and that is actually an admirable trait. But one thing is certain, you can assemble a squad of good players, fine technical players who know how to cope against your stronger opponents in East Asia. But whether the coach is able to bring the team to the finishing line, whatever the circumstances, I think there are question marks over that. If anything, it actually allowed Buriram to play their game, especially with when they are on the ball and when they decide to make quick passing moves that overtake the GDT rearguard, especially from their Brazilian talisman Leo Crispin. Johor did find it very difficult to handle, and fortunately, rather fortuitously towards the end of the first half, it was all evens in terms of personnel when rather inexplicably, you can say Teraton Bumantan, an experienced Thai international who has actually played in Japan previously with Yokohama F Marinos, who has hundreds of league games under his belt, contrived to do a Vinnie Jones. Yes, he has history of doing some gamesmanship, but he contrived to do a Vinnie Jones by grabbing the balls of Arif Aiman. What was that? Not when, especially when you are having that one-man advantage. Obviously, already that Saudi referee who is really struggling to control the game already had so many cards flash as though the ants had entered into his shirt pocket. Just contrived to just produce another red card after yet another VAR review. And talking about this referee is actually particularly prone to having all these reactive cards and decisions, especially after reviewing footage of what had happened previously and from what he had missed. And when you have this type of referee, the last thing you need is to do this kind of antics where when the pressure is already on him, on Khalid Al-Turki decides that I will just banish the guy. I do not care whether what the both benches think. I do not care what the players think on the pitch. It's like this is what the referee is thinking. Like he will just implant the rules and he will just impose himself with the rules, with the cards, and thinks that he probably has things in order thereafter. Well, Buriram actually suffered a lot more in the second half after the dismissal of their talismanic captain. And actually this allowed Johor to reorganize. They had actually a better tactical structure in play in the second half with 10 men after the break, and actually put quite a bit of pressure on Buriram in the second half. If not for their Filipino-English goalkeeper Neil Etheridge, who was signed from English Championship, English League side Birmingham City earlier this year, I think Johor could have gotten away with all 3 points despite not playing that well and having had to endure a chaotic wild first half. So once again it was actually Bergson again. In the 64th minute, where actually a set play where a cross came in, there was a melee, and the ball fell into Bergson's path. He produced a step on the ball that a less alert goalkeeper would just simply have just allow it to trickle in. But Neil Ettridge, he shows why when he's playing for club and country, why he's such an important player, with his agility, with his ability to react to shots, and also his positioning to see through the danger and clear it away, or rather punch it out for corner kick before a goal is conceded. So but then still again, yet the referee contrived to show that he's the real man of the match. Khalil Al-Turki, I mean, there was a period midway early in the second half where during a Johor counter, a second ball came onto the pitch, and the thing is, Neil Ettridge did nothing, but yet he got booked for supposedly starting the game with an illegal ball, which is quite incredible. It's like already this Khalid Al-Turki has totally lost his head, and that losing of his head really showed it at the time when you can say yes, it's a wild tackle by Park Jun-hyung on the Buriram number 7, but the thing is, it's a dangerous tackle, but yes, you can probably, if you can say, even if the game is rather tense, the referee was able to control the situation, he would just probably have given a yellow card. I mean, as what Pierluigi Collina, who is currently the head of FIFA referee, say, common sense is needed. Common sense. But still, Khalid Al-Turki totally lacked common sense throughout this game, which was probably just as well that Buriram and Johor finished in a goalless draw. Not the best of results, but still 1 point earned. And now the rent's on, the referee is over, but still, looking at the subs that Bidoglio make in the second half, okay, he took out Bergson and Unda Barrera for Herberty and Obregon, and later on Afiq Faisal came. Sorry, my mistake is actually John Muniz and Bergson off for Herberty and Obregon, and later on Unda Barrera off for Afiq Faisal. These are familiar substitutions. And the question mark is, even with that, with your 9 outfield players, your 10 men including your goalkeeper, actually probably couldn't Bidoglio actually trust the other players on the bench to try to win the game? Is he that obsessed with only that core group of players that he believed that he can trust to win this game, or what? It's the question mark is there. It's like, and especially now with Johor, with 3 Johor players who are confirmed to be suspended in their next ACLE match away in Australia, Bidoglio really has a lot to think about. They're going to miss Park Jun-hyung in centre back, which could mean Shi Lowry moving back into the role in the centre alongside Eddie Isravilov. But then how about the left back position? Who's going to take it? A local? Or another foreigner? Is it Colvin Ong who is going to fill in? Perhaps. But is Bidoglio ready to trust him? That's a big question mark when it comes to the ACLE. Then in midfield, John Muniz is suspended. Murillo on the left is suspended. What is Bidoglio going to do? And from what you can see in this, for the rest of the game, when Johor were mainly down to 10 men and in injury time down to 9 men, there's no clear plan B that this Argentine Venezuelan coach is not proactive in finding a solution to see how he wants to do to unlock the rather fragile Buriram defense. Yes, he threw on two strikers, Herberti and Obregon, to try to force something on the tiring Buriram defense, but once again, the thing is, Herberti did a lot. As usual, he was full of running. He did cause a few problems for Buriram defense, but Obregon became anonymous the moment he stepped onto the pitch. I'm sure some of the Johor fans will be wondering, what is the real value of Obregon? Already having Bergson to start is a move that's really justified, but then again, you're desperate for goals, you need to throw these guys, but what about your creativity? Muniz is out, then you are putting a bit on, like as I said before, square pegs and round holes. Where does this all go? Does Hector Bidoglio have a plan B after all? If he doesn't, that could really be the downfall of Johor's aspirations in the AFC Champions League Elite. Yes, you can have a good, strong starting 11. You have a few good ones. Then yes, you also have another starting 11 in your Malaysian Super League, in your domestic competitions, which, yes, while it's not at the same level as the continental stage, but still it provides ample ground, and several players do have experience playing in Asia before, so they will know what to do. The curious question is, how is Hector Bidoglio going to respond? Especially with the next games, ACLE games, final two games coming up in February. I think this goalless draw has exposed a few failings of the current JDT head coach. And this is something that I think even fans, Johor Darussalam fans, should be really concerned, because their aspirations to want to go far can't be matched when a coach is unable to show that he's not able to know what to do at the heat of the moment during those flashpoints. Bidoglio failed in his assignment tonight. His players rescued him with their own initiative, with their own technical abilities. And could it be down to the point that even the players' abilities may not be enough to save Bidoglio when things go south, as it has happened a few times, but especially tonight? That's all for the evening. Have a good night.